We just changed our name from Lessons Up to Roadmap, so if you heard about us in a different name, that is why. We're very excited to be relaunching with this. And I always say I was the first member of our community. At the outset of the iPad, I was a teacher, and I accidentally pivoted into tech. Because I started my journey from teaching and very quickly started leading operations and growth departments, I had a very different mindset about hiring. So what I have done with my 10 years of experience in tech is I have reverse engineered the job search and hiring process so that all of us can get greater access to jobs, and part of that starts with networking. So I will just pause there. I'm excited to be here with all of you. This is a very communal session, so welcome you. Good to see your face, Brittany, Javana, Dahlia. If you can join with camera and mic, please do. The more we participate, the more that we'll get out of it. So today we're here to talk about networking on LinkedIn to get a job, but did anyone come with any very specific questions? Challenges. Okay. Well, we'll have time for just one share. So, Javana, what brings you to us today? What are you looking for next?
Yeah, hi, my name is Javana. I resigned from teaching in March and have been doing other things since then. I actually used to work with Karina Solomonic, who recommended you. And so I reached out. Yeah, so that's how I landed here. And Karina and I swap stories about all kinds of stuff all the time and kind of her journey and my journey. So I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going to land and what I'm going to do, what I want to do. And that part has been really tricky because teacher is like a very easy job title that people understand. And then when you transition to other fields, there's lots of different things that could pull and leverage on things I've done in the world of education. So right now, I think I'm in a space where I'm both actively job hunting, but also like trying to wrap my head around and get a better understanding of what these roles really look like, and doing that in a way that's fostering like meaningful connections, be it across LinkedIn or some other format. So yeah.
Definitely. Okay, that's super helpful, and we'll keep an eye on different roles in tech and other industries as we talk today. And
Thank you.
also, yes, Karina is a delight, and I do have to say, just as a former teacher, and hearing her say that teaching was one of the most challenging jobs ever, but she had to leave
Yeah.
because it just doesn't pay. It's just
Yeah.
so hard to hear, but yet our job here together is to make sure that we all get what we
Yeah.
need out of our career. So I'm with
Absolutely.
you.
Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. And Brittany, what brings you to the table today?
I come from almost a decade in higher education and made the pivot April, and I'm in a role. It's the first pivot role, and I have learned what I enjoy about it, and I have navigated parts of it that I don't. And so having a therapy in my life to look in the mirror and say, what are the things that you want to do, Brittany? You had this career, and there are parts of it. I like to say I was a Jane of all trades, and that makes it really difficult for me to think about, okay, if I'm going to tailor a LinkedIn, a resume, and an opportunity to connect with somebody, what is it that I'm wanting to even explore? So I feel Giovanna's sentiment very much so about how there is a world of opportunity out there, and at the same time figuring out what is the opportunity that we're going to go to next. I found this group through a Facebook group that is meant for those that are like myself, leaving higher education specifically and looking into corporate or other realms to have a quality of life that we all deserve. So that's what brings me here, and I'm eager to know what is available through Roadmap and then see where it can fit in my own journey to really have a career that meets my needs, that is mutually committed to things that I deem as valuable and important to me.
Okay, wow. Well, it's wonderful to meet you, Brittany, as well. And so much of what you said resonates with me, and we're going to go into a lot of that today. What do we want out of our careers, and then how do we get it? I'm going to start, and I see we have a lot of other faces and people who haven't had a chance to say hello yet. Feel free to drop in the chat what brought you here, and throughout we'll have a chance to get to know each other and take some more shares. So as we think about this journey into a more fulfilling career, our biggest job is to take the things that we've already achieved and translate them into meaningful language that gets the attention of people in our target industry. everything, which comes down to a key result. I achieved this thing that resonates with you. So I actually like to start with the key results of our program here at Roadmap. Anything that we talk about today as far as like this is a tactic that will move us forward is not because I like it or thought about it. It's because it was proven by other alumni in this program throughout the job search process. So some of our key results, and since I know that we have someone from higher education and from teaching here, we'll take a look at a couple of those. So let's see. Let's just take Carla White, for example. She was a teacher for over 10 years, and in the course of 10 weeks, she went from being a teacher to customer experience at a startup based in San Francisco. She still gets to live in Houston, so she's actually working remotely. And I just call that out because so many people join and say they want a remote job, and I'm like, well, it's the same process whether you do. But this is literally her work history. And I was also pretty excited. I just checked in with her because it's been about 6 months, and she said it's going really well, and she's already thinking about the promotion and what she wants to do next at the company. But how did she do this? I mentioned that we translate our experience into meaningful language for our target industry. Carla's was something like this. With the help of my analysis tool, 79% of students were scoring a solid 2, up from 58% at the beginning of the school year. That sentence alone fueled her entire job search. You could say it was sort of like the strategy that brought her through every step. But Carla's not the only one, right? We also have people from, just since someone spoke up, from higher education who made the pivot. And I know you already made the pivot, Brittany, but I think it's still important for all of us to see that there's evidence that this works for any industry going into any other industry. Robert went from higher education. He was a director at Georgia State University. He increased his salary by $38,000 and joined an entire new industry through the 10-week program. That said, we also highlighted some important pieces here about making sure that we're fulfilled and happy and we know what we want from these career moves. So we'll touch on that too. But since this session was first dedicated to networking on LinkedIn so that we can build relationships to get to these careers that are maybe more meaningful for us in some way, let's jump into that piece of the process, and then we'll kind of tie it all together with building a lifelong meaningful career. I will pause there, though, to see if any new questions or anything came up, just as we kind of introduced how this works for people. Anything on anyone's mind? Okay, great. So let's take a look at the job search process that has helped so many of us go from one industry to the next, or just accelerating our career in the current industry. About 30% of the people in the program were already in their target industry and just wanted to move up, and it felt, the ceiling. So this helps for that too. It starts with networking, which is what we're going to talk about most today. But I will say networking is 5 times more effective than just cold applying. If you start your interview process with a relationship behind you and someone who brought you in, you are much more likely to get an offer at the end of that process, right? And you're just much more likely to actually land an interview versus cold applying can take hundreds of applications and maybe still no results. So we're going to start with the beginning of the process. The primary networking tactics that we use to move things forward. A few ways to look at this. We want people to come to us who might resonate with what we want out of our career and the value that we add in an organization. So instead of just reaching out to people and trying to strike conversations, we can actually start by posting a blurb that other people can see and will resonate with and then reach out to us. So actually, Brittany, Javana, have either of you written a networking blurb and posted it anywhere? Okay, you did, Brittany. How did it go?
I have to be mindful of where I'm posting, and that's definitely part of the anxiety of doing that. So I was able to take a benefit of LinkedIn Premium with this trial to post in those premium spaces where I felt safe to do so. I'm also just networking within relationships that I had both in and outside of higher ed. Like, yes, that was my comfortable space, but there are also folks like Robert in my world that have also made other pivots as well to learn what's worked for them. And then social media groups that really align with the journey that I'm on is also where I posted before. So being able to leverage really from complete strangers that are wanting to give back to the community of where I am now that they have been before. So it's been a hit or miss though, because oftentimes the analytics won't speak to what I want the interaction to be. And other times it's like, okay, something in there with my emojis or my hashtags really gains some interest.
Yeah, I like the fact that you're thinking about where to post it and what you'll get it from. So for all of us who haven't posted a networking blurb, let's just quickly review what should be in a networking blurb and how we can make it work for us. You want to write a very short blurb. We saw Carla's as a very quick example that lets someone know what value you add to an organization, what concrete evidence you can show that you're qualified to add that value, and then a personal reason about why this is important to you. And that will start building a relationship with people, and then people will reach out to you specifically because there's a common interest. So that will start your relationship building on the right path, right? It's not just about a specific job, it's about this thing that I can do and these reasons why I can do it. So let me give a visual to all of us, and this will be sort of the tool that sparks our networking journey. What value am I adding? Why am I adding it? Why am I qualified to do it? I had showed Carla's briefly. Michaela, another job search bootcamp alum, had written a networking blurb. We actually say post your networking blurb 5 times in a week. So wake up every day, post your networking blurb in a different community that might resonate with you and people you want to meet, and just do that every week for a few weeks, and you will start to get a lot of traction and calls scheduled. So Michaela posted this one. We say it's one of the best because it led to like 14 conversations from just posting it 4 times, but it led to conversations with people who worked in the field as well as VPs and leaders in the field. And you can read it. I don't need to read it out loud, but things that she did. She let us know where she came from: program management, nonprofit education for 10 years. Her recent role, her big key result, executing a 17,000 person event, the Barclays Center, and then what she's passionate about, and then how to connect with her. It's short, it's concise, it's to the point. It doesn't give us too much. It gives us just enough, right? And if you're sitting in the crowd and you're like me and you're like, I have never done anything like execute a 17,000 person event, it does not matter. It's whatever you have done in your career at the type of organization that you're working with will tell a very high impact story, just as long as you make it clear, right? We saw Carla, who, she never executed a 17,000 person event. She just increased, sorry, I have way too many things open, but we'll just come back to Carla's just for reference. There aren't huge numbers here. This was in a classroom environment, but it doesn't matter because the impact is clear. So I just want to clarify that in case any of us are intimidated about this. So our first step is to just write this blurb. Yes, we're writing it because we can post it on LinkedIn and we can go and post it in several communities, but we're also writing it because components of this are going to be our staple for building relationships throughout all of our networking, right? Someone's going to see that, and then we're going to lead with that in our elevator pitch. And even when we do outreach via email and other methods, we're going to constantly come back to how am I qualifying myself to build a relationship. I'm going to stop there. Any questions about the concept of a networking blurb and getting it out there? Okay. The other thing that I want to say that a networking blurb doesn't do quite as well, it doesn't highlight the other person first. So once you actually, are past just getting your networking blurb written and you're specifically networking with very specific people and very specific purposes, talk about them first and then you. So let's go into another networking tactic on LinkedIn. If I am targeting a specific new job field, one of the things that I might do is go in and look at posts from leaders, recruiters, people at target companies that I care about. And then I might repost them and say something about it, but also include a piece of my networking blurb. So let's just go and look at some recent posts on LinkedIn that aren't from me. Whoops, my searches. I'm going to start a new LinkedIn. Let's go to LinkedIn Home and see what people are talking about out there that we could potentially do something with. Okay, great. So if I was targeting fintech and I saw this post, let's say, hey, this is a great opportunity. Let me see in here what resonates with me. Okay, personalized service and attention to my needs. Okay, great. So maybe I would say I'm going to take this post and I'm going to share my thoughts. And first I'm going to just say, really excited to see that Finex was named a top 100 financial company. This is some of it, I'm going to take something specific from their post that I just saw, right? And there's a lot of material to work with. I'll think it through. This is a little off the cuff right now, but I'll say something like, what really resonates with me about this is this, personalized service and attention. This is really important to me as someone in financial services and tech for the last X number of years. I recently did this thing. Here's what I'm looking for next in my career. Something as simple as that. And now you have an opportunity for this leader to see it. For these people who commented on it, you could also make that a comment if you're not ready to reshare it completely as a post. So if you are going to share it as a post, make sure you put some thought into it, right? And you actually give some solid takeaways. But these are other ways where you can build that relationship by just including components of your networking blurb and tying them to the conversation that people are already having out there in your target field. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Any questions pop up? Anything anyone is thinking about that? Okay, great. Then we will just keep moving right along. So we've got our networking blurb written. We are posting it. Now we're thinking about building relationships on LinkedIn. One of those tactics is to go through, identify the leaders and companies that we want to work with, be closer to, learn more about, find their content and repost it with a little bit of ours. Some other tactics that we might do is to literally reach out directly to leaders. Has anyone here tried this? Okay, Javana, I see you nodding. Can you tell us a little bit about how it went?
Yeah, it's mostly just been through like LinkedIn messages, and depending on the size of the organization, generally dictates like the level of response. But like small to mid-range, like there seems to be a lot of engagement and a lot of monitoring from leaders in terms of like content, especially around the organization. So it hasn't led to like super fruitful conversations, but a contact, which is a step somewhere. I don't know if it's in the right direction, but yeah, it's been okay.
So you're saying that it's worked to get some engagement, people replying back to you. Has it worked to schedule any phone calls?
Not yet.
Got it. So if you're getting engagement, that means and I would be curious to know what follow-up you're doing and what actions you're doing to get phone calls from it, because we're going to have to do that work to actually like bring the person to the meeting. Have you taken any actions to actually convert that engagement into a 15-minute phone call?
I've done some follow-up, and then usually it dries up pretty quickly. And so like initiating or asking for time like seems to be the boundary. I've gotten some responses of like not having the bandwidth for that sort of thing, and then a push to either a webinar or some kind of paid something that they may offer. So not, and
Okay.
it's like, and I was a teacher before,
Yeah.
so it's not as though I have excessive income to be spending on attending
Definitely don't attend the
different
paid.
things.
Yeah, absolutely don't attend the paid webinar for sure. Agree with you on that. Um, has anyone had success with outreach to leaders converting it into a call? Okay, so when someone engages with you, you want to very quickly turn it into a reason for a call. So if you posted a networking blurb, if you reached out to a leader and just, hey Dahlia, I saw that you're leader of the growth marketing team at XYZ company. Really interested in learning more about this initiative you're working on. I recently did this thing in growth marketing that you care about. Here's my key result. Then as soon as Dahlia replies, it's, wow, Dahlia, this is great. I'd love to chat for 15 minutes. Here's my scheduling link. Here's a date and time that works for me. What works for you? I'll send an invite. Go for that. Take those steps. Make those actions very clear and easy for them to say yes to so they don't have to do any work. And 15 minutes is all that you're ever asking for. But make sure you ask early and upfront and have a reason, right? You are stating your key results. You are exploring your next opportunity, and this team is the perfect fit because of the thing. And if they pass you off to a recruiter or someone else in the company, great, you have the conversation with them. But you've definitely got to take those actions. Quickly, concisely move it to the next stage. But I want to make sure I'm not just giving you this if you've already done it. So have you tried any of those things? So then we can talk about how to workshop that.
I've tried the like virtual coffee invitation and giving like a couple of options in terms of times that I'm available. And then, like I said, most of it is like a responsive.
Yep.
I don't have the bandwidth.
Yep. Got it. So keep trying that. I do recommend reaching out to 5 leaders a week if that's one of your tactics. And definitely make sure that in your verbiage you've mentioned a key result. Go back and check, like, did I give them a very specific key result? We even had someone in boot camp who came and told me, well, yeah, my friend referred me, and then the hiring manager didn't reply when I responded to the referral email. I was like, well, Roberta, did you put a key result in there? She's like, well, no, because I didn't want to look, like I was trying too hard because I already had the introduction. But the leader hadn't said anything for 5 days. Okay, go back, reply again, put your key result in there, and then sure enough, she did, and then she wound up with a phone call. We constantly have to qualify yourself, so make sure that there's a key result in your conversation early and upfront to give them a reason to want to talk to you that like qualifies you, and then take those steps. And it's true, people might say no. That's why we hedge our bets with multiple tactics. So if it's not working with leaders, and I actually think it's great advice that the size of the organization might determine it. So leader can be anyone who might hire for a role. It doesn't always have to be like the CEO. The CEO of, a big brand, I'm probably not going to get to talk to, but maybe the director at that big brand is someone that I might get to talk to. So think about where you fit in the organization and the leader that you should be reaching out to, right? Leader just means they're hiring. They have a team. Recruiters are fantastic to reach out to. You're doing your job for them. You probably only need to reach out to 3 a week, and you're probably going to get a response. Has anyone tried reaching out to recruiters? Okay. Definitely go and think through those target organizations that you want to work for and find a recruiter. Make sure it's a recruiter that might resonate with you. Like if they say engineering recruiting and you're not an engineer, probably not the right person to reach out to. If they say recruiter and they don't specify, probably the right person to reach out to. Again, qualify yourself, use that key result from your networking blurb, ask for that 15-minute call. Recruiters might bounce back to you and tell you to apply first if you're interested. Do that. That's not them putting you off. That's them driving their own process forward. And then you just come and let them know, oh, great, I submitted my application. Really love to learn more about the role. And then if they talk to you, that's specifically a phone screen interview. So do keep that in mind. That's the difference between recruiters. Once you get on a call with them, you're now in the interview process. Fantastic, right? Oh, I see a question. I'm using LinkedIn open to work option. Oh, that is only visible to recruiters. Okay, so open to work. Yes, use it. You don't need to use it only for recruiters. A lot of people think that we look desperate if we have that on our LinkedIn profiles. That's not the case. Some of our people from Job Search Bootcamp who made just astounding career pivots had it up the entire time. Jesse Moreno had been rejected for a year, joined Job Search Bootcamp, and in 7 weeks he pivoted from retail to health tech. He had the open to work on his profile the whole time during his job search. And it worked. He also, in Job Search Bootcamp, went and optimized his profile and made sure all of his key results were there. So I guess that's one thing that we haven't talked about. We're talking about the networking tactics, but your profile does need to do the bare minimum. So we'll get to that after we finish going through the tactics, like what does your profile need to look like for all of these networking tactics to really work for you. Yeah, great question about open to work. We'll come back more to the LinkedIn profiles. So you're posting your networking blurb on LinkedIn and other communities. You're reaching out to leaders. You're reaching out to recruiters. Has anyone tried reaching out to employees, people who have a role that you want? Okay, Javana, how did that go?
That's a little bit easier in some ways, some more response. Inconsistent at the same time. That's generally like what I have found with any of my attempts, like hit or miss, but I have focused on reaching out to employees that are somehow connected to me in some way, shape, or form, so that I have a point of reference. Yeah.
Okay, great. It will be easier, and I just saw a question in the chat. I've reached out to employees. They've responded. I have no idea how to handle the conversation and ask them for what I want from them. Perfect. Okay, so I love that it's working for you to reach out to employees, but how to get something meaningful out of this. Again, move the conversation as quickly as possible to a networking call. That's, hi, Brittany, I saw that you recently pivoted from higher education to, actually, Brittany, what is your role now?
I'm in customer relations and customer success.
Fantastic. So you recently pivoted from higher ed to customer success. I'm working on a major transition in my career. I recently, key result, this thing you really care about, would love to chat for 15 minutes. Brittany's going to come back and say, okay, yeah, I'm too busy. And you're going to say, oh, okay, great. And then you're going to move on to the next one. When Brittany says yes, though, get on that call, and most likely Brittany will say yes. If you're making it about her first. I saw what you did in your career. This is very interesting to me. Here's a key result why you should talk to me. Here, I'm going to make it really easy for you to talk to me. You're probably going to get a yes. Still, you're going to reach out to 5 different people to get that one yes, which is great odds, by the way, 20% conversion rate. Once you get on the call with those people, you're now conducting a networking call. And we're going to talk about that in a moment, because that's sort of the next step in the process, right? We do the networking to get the networking call. So we'll talk about the networking call in a moment. Like, what do we do once we get those conversations? But I will say, let's see who asked the question. Oh, Katiska, did you have any other specific questions about just reaching out to employees, they respond, and you're not sure what to do next?
No, just I guess spit it out. Just spit it out and ask. At first, I guess I can try and find out what to ask, but what to ask specifically from that person in the position that they're in. But how to get there, I really don't know.
Yep. So it comes back to, I saw you're at this company doing this thing that's really important to me. It's important to me because, and then qualify yourself every time you achieve this key result. I'd love to learn more about work life at XYZ company. I'd love to learn more about how you got to where you are in your career. Most people aren't reaching out to me telling me that I'm really cool and doing great stuff. So when someone does, I get pretty excited. I'm probably going to say yes, right? So just do that. You're not asking for something. You're giving someone the opportunity to talk about themselves.
Okay.
Think about it that way. Make that very specific ask. And if they're like, why would we be talking? Oh, I am exploring opportunities. I see there are open roles. Your company is on my list. I'd love to learn more about the work culture. Work culture is really important to me. Something like that. You can be transparent. It's not going to hurt your odds. They want to make sure that they have something to offer before they give time, right? Reaching out to past colleagues, a little bit easier. You can just send them an email and it's, hi, Javana. Wasn't really hilarious when we worked on that project for all those students and we were up for days. Want to let you know I'm doing something new with my career. Since we last spoke, here's my key result, here's my key result. I would love to catch up. And they're probably going to say, yes, let's chat, right? And then, of course, definitely reply to people who have posted jobs. This happens all the time. People, oh, we're hiring. Definitely talk to those people. You're helping them do their job and getting in front of them. Okay, so we have done all of these things, and now we're going to talk to someone. We're going to conduct a networking call. So what do we do when we're in that call? Good news, it only needs to be 15 minutes. Other good news, you can do a little bit of work beforehand to prep for it. Research the person to have at least one thing to build some rapport with. So it's not just, where are you from? How's the weather? Right? And then just have a strong kickoff question. How did you get to where you're at in your career? What is your day-to-day like as a customer success manager at XYZ company? What's the biggest challenge for you in customer success right now? Something like that. Just get them talking. Have a conversation. Reflect back. Get excited. Build rapport. To spend 8 to 10 minutes, or as soon as you hear something really valuable that you can use to build a relationship, you're going to move towards wrapping up. It's something like, oh, Brittany, hearing everything that you said today about looking for meaningful ways to move your career forward and find fulfillment really resonates with me. In fact, you're the kind of person that I could see myself working with. I'd love to send you my resume, or a referral from you would actually mean a lot. If Brittany says that to me, far more likely to get a yes than, hey, Dahlia, I know that you're a really busy growth marketer, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I know I'm a little earlier in my career, but I actually am looking for a job, so if you could give me a referral, that would be really great. That sounds like a lot of work for Dahlia, and like she has to really, really make a bet on you, like, oh, geez, this person sounds kind of desperate. Versus, Dahlia, the way you spent your time, as a mom supporting your child, and the work that you did for nonprofits during your time off really means a lot to me. You're the kind of person I want to work with. Hey, I see an open role. I'd love to send you my resume. A referral from you would actually mean a lot. It's going to be so much different. It's night and day. So you're always asking for referrals by reflecting back what's important to the other person. This is also going to help with that career direction and moving towards fulfillment. Because if you can't find something to connect with that person about, then there might not be some reason to connect there. So what we have found through so many cohorts of boot camp is put yourself out there with the things that mean the most for you. Find ways to build relationships with people. Move those relationships forward. Once you start moving enough relationships forward, you will start to learn about the opportunity market, where you fit in, and which one you want to pursue. Your job is to get all the offers, all the opportunities flowing into your lap so that you can learn about them and make the choices. And it does happen. I've seen it happen over and over again. Carla White, that networking blurb that we first saw, she actually wound up interviewing with 4 different companies and had 2 different offers. So how do I move forward if I'm not sure what I want? You'll actually learn that by opening all the doors, building all the relationships, and then you'll get a chance to kind of see which ones are the right fit for you. Okay, so we kind of gone through just the tactics of the outreach, getting in front of people, having the conversations. Before we jump into it, we'll stay on for like a few more minutes to look at LinkedIn profiles specifically. But any other questions that came up? Where should we be posting that blurb? LinkedIn, sure, but where specifically? Great question. Let me share my screen real quick. Lots of communities. Any community that you can join, any social media network that you can join where people might be. I have a short list here of a few communities that I like. I also love this idea of, Brittany's idea, like social media, different social media channels, groups. Are there Twitter groups? Where can you post this thing with people who might resonate with it? Who can you tag? Who can you get in front of? That does take some effort to figure out, but once you get out there and you start talking to people, you'll start to find the places. Also, Discord, I've heard lately, is pretty good. I haven't used it yet, but assume that there are always more places, and look for those and talk to each other and brainstorm and figure out where you can post your blurb. Because it's true, if you're doing this every day, 5 days a week for a few weeks at a time, you need a good, strong list of places to post. You can also post in various LinkedIn groups. Slack communities are fantastic because there are just hundreds of them. So consider those as well. Okay, so actually, any other questions before we just do a quick review of LinkedIn profiles? All right, let's do a quick review of LinkedIn profiles, because if you're doing all of these great tactics, you also need to have a LinkedIn profile that will help you get there. The most important thing about a LinkedIn profile is to immediately show the value that you add to an organization. Don't worry that you're going to pigeonhole yourself. If you show that you've made an impact, it will tell a story and it will draw a lot of people in. In fact, Jesse, specifically you're mentioning retail operations manager, is now at a company called Vault Health, which clearly has nothing to do with retail. This did not hurt him. It helped him because people immediately saw that he adds value. Not all of us have driven multi-million-dollar sales, doesn't matter. Whatever it is that we have done, make sure it's clear. Most of us aren't going to put our key result right there under our name, by the way, but we're going to start with the value that we add. That's just one tactic to do it. Your about section can simply be your networking blurb that we already talked about, because it shows, again, a key result. It shows why you're passionate about it. It tells a simple story. People want to talk to someone who's telling a story, right? The most important thing, single most important thing for building relationships with recruiters and hiring managers is just have key results underneath your job title. It makes such a difference. Joan Walters had joined the Roadmap program during a lull in her career. She already was a product manager who had worked for some name brand companies, and there was a layoff, and you'll see from October 2019, September 2021, well, 10 weeks before September, she joined Job Search Bootcamp, but that 2 years before, she was just saying, what's going on in my career? She optimized her profile, added those key results, and, just updated a few things. And now, the way she says she adds value, it was literally just her job title, which is great. Once you have a job, you can do that. But she got a referral, opened the doors, and landed her senior product manager role of artificial intelligence. Other people, actually, in our cohort right now, Abby said let's see if I can find her. There's so many Abbies in my world. Okay, well. Many people in Job Search Bootcamp right now in week 4 went and they optimized their profile, and they already started getting outreach from recruiters. Actually, okay, I remember one that I know I can find. Alina. She, by week 3, was in phone screens with 2 different companies. Oh, I do always say, whatever you can do to make it personal and build a relationship. I love what Alina did with these little emojis, sustainability and zero waste, the program management, the growth chart, the handshake, customer success, just fantastic. And then let's see if she put her key results. Excellent. She added her key results. I know it's working because she reported that she landed phone screens, and the environment for her for interviewing had been completely dry. So it works. There's lots of ways to think about this top line too, but you can, as long as you say the value you add, you can also be personal and build a relationship. Another good example, one of the best, of course, because she's a storyteller, but Alicia Aldrich, bootcamp alum, kick-ass storyteller, template breaker, trash TV connoisseur. It builds a relationship, but I know immediately what this person does. And it's funny because obviously she is a kick-ass storyteller because she wrote it like that and it just tells a story. But yeah, make sure you tell us how you add value, make it a little personal, build a relationship, look at some examples of LinkedIn profiles, put your networking blurb or something similar in that section, and then add in those key results. And that is all you need to do. 3 things. Most people can do this in 30 minutes. If you don't have any of your key results written yet, that's a different story. And we have another session for that and a whole guide, and we'll kind of go into that because that is sometimes the biggest challenge. But that's what you need to do on your LinkedIn profile for all these networking tactics to work. Okay, we're just about to the end of our session. Any other questions pop up? Got it. So then the quick review. We are writing a networking blurb that really hones in on one key result we can use to strategize all of our relationship building. We're posting that blurb once a day, 5 days a week. We're reaching out to leaders, recruiters, employees. We're reposting content from leaders and recruiters and employees at companies where we want to work. And then we're getting on those calls, asking a strong kickoff question, reflecting back to ask for a referral, and we're making sure that our LinkedIn profile is optimized. Sounds like a lot of work, but we're going to break it down and we're going to make it really simple. The first couple of weeks of Job Search Bootcamp, we go through each piece of this and we just kind of check it off and we really break it down. But any questions before we wrap up today?
I have a question.
Great.
Hi, I was kind of late. I didn't realize the session was today, but thanks for the review. It kind of gives me a good insight into what the session was about, and I'm definitely looking forward to catch up with the recording for sure. So basically, my problem I have with my LinkedIn profile is I have like too many things going on right now with what I'm building, and I'm diversifying from being a tech lead freelancer to, I'm transitioning into like a leadership role. I have a company which I built. I'm a CEO, and I also run like a meetup. So it's like quite a lot of things that there are, and it's really hard to like pin it down to like what exactly I do or what I want to showcase on my profile. The key factor which were talking about, which is hard for me because I am kind of entrepreneurial and I write code and I'm very technical. So yeah.
Great. Do you know what you want to do next?
Uh, yeah, that is another problem that I don't know my audience because immediate audience, I would say, because like the freelancing thing is not working for me, and I want to go more into maybe a full time or maybe entrepreneurial, like completely building a company. So I still don't know where I stand, which is why I don't know my audience, but I still keep adding people
Got
like
it. Okay, so
CTOs.
got it. If you are torn between freelance and full-time work,
Yeah.
gear your profile to full-time work.
Okay.
You can still pick up freelance work and put that message out into the world, but gear yourself to look like a full-time employee. Choose one key result that will resonate. It can still be both technical and leadership. As a technical leader at XYZ company, mobilized a team to deliver a product serving X amount of people, serving this important purpose. Really looking forward to learning more about your product roadmap.
Right. Okay.
Just choose that direction and go with it, and then people will start to talk to you, and then you'll get an idea of the opportunity landscape, and that in of itself will help you narrow in on what you want to do next.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but I do think also it would be nice to chat with someone like you, like get some consultancy and like have a chat. So I don't know how to contact you. So could you please like let me know or share your LinkedIn profile so I can just add you or something.
Yes, definitely. Let me grab the link to my LinkedIn, and yes, please follow up. Let me know how you're doing, how these tactics work for you. I just dropped it in the chat, and great question, because we all have that question. We all have so many things that we have done and directions that we could go. We
Yeah,
just have to choose one and put it out there, and stuff will start moving forward.
yeah, yeah,
If we put,
absolutely.
yeah, if we put all the directions, we're never going to move forward anywhere. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree with you.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing. This is like really fascinating, and curious to learn more about you as a technical leader, and all of you. Brittany, Javana, great meeting you. Talia, always good to have you. And Leilani, we didn't get a chance to chat much, but follow up with me. Let me know how things are going. Diego, good to see you again. And Katiuska, also great questions today. So I will see you all at the next one, and just really want to hear how it goes this week, putting some of these things to work. So